Hey there, my name is Alex, I am the Silver Mont, and welcome to another yearly wrap-up video. 2023 this time. Personal stuff, I got married, that's the big one, the only interesting one. Anyway, point of this video is, as with every other one I've done since, 2017 or so, largely we're just going to talk about some things that happened in 2023 that might not have warranted their own video, you know? Games I might have played but didn't cover on the channel, movies, shows, whatnot. And of course, let me know how your 2023 was in the comments and what you're looking forward to in this Year of the Dragon. 2023 was a fairly big year for video games, huh? Resident Evil 4, Baldur's Gate 3, Zelda, Mario, Spider-Man, Street Fighter, Cyberpunk's expansion, Alan Wake 2, to name but a few of the AAA titles. We also had things like a new Armored Core for the first time in forever, Stadia shutting down the Microsoft Activision deal, leaks and whatnot. I don't think there's many games though that I played but didn't talk about. At the start of the year, my daily plays were Destiny 2, Genshin, Dissidia, Opera Omnia, Call of Duty, and Final Fantasy XIV. But now, I ditched Destiny 2 as I've had enough of Bungie's nonsense. Dissidia announced end of service, so I dropped that. Call of Duty, after one update, kept crashing on me, to the extent that I got so annoyed I just uninstalled it. Final Fantasy XIV hasn't had a good year either, for me. I loved Endwalker, but everything after Endwalker, both in-game and around it, has mostly just irritated me, to be honest. A day or two before I wrote this script, they announced another Cash Shop exclusive armor set, which should be in the game. You know, it's one thing back when the Cash armor stuff was like, oh, buy this NPC's gear, or oh, buy this maid outfit, but now it's literally just, look at this fantasy RPG armor, now buy it. But no. And I think the developers, I don't know, are they getting complacent? Are they settling? Everything feels so routine. Every single seasonal event in Final Fantasy XIV is, I am the Christmas person. Go and talk to 3 NPCs about Christmas, come back here and get like a hat. Yay. I hate to compare with Genshin, but Genshin's events are so much better, and actually there's something a bit different every time. And you can't tell me that the developers of 14 don't have money to put back into the game. There's so many people subscribe to it, and so many people use the Cash Shop. Where's all that money going? Because it doesn't feel like it's going back into the development of the game. Where is it going? Is it going to things like Forspoken? I don't know. It's disappointing though, at any rate. The classes all feel like reskins of each other right now. Content's just too predictable, you know? And worst of all, perhaps, the storyline for, you know, Zero and the Void, it was bland, to put it generously. Like, I'm not going to drop 14 right now, but they're on a downward trend in my opinion, and Dawn Trial, whatever it's called, that's its chance to, you know, win me back, so to speak. I'm not super hyped for it right now, because Viper and Pictomancer neither really appeal to me. I'll try them out, but it's the story, really, and how much effort it feels like they're putting into the game, because right now I feel like they're kind of coasting. But moving on, how about gaming related media? 2023 was an interesting one for that. We had the HBO adaptation of The Last of Us, which I watched. I felt like it was a good adaptation. I don't think that was super hard, because the game was already kind of just like a average TV show to begin with. You can play the game, you can watch the series, you more or less get the same story, which, you know, that's good. Compared to the Halo TV show, which was miserable and offensive. The Last of Us, compared to that, looks amazing. Again, it's a very good adaptation of the game. I'm just not a huge fan of the game to begin with, so I watched it and I was like, yep, it's like the game, mostly. Very curious how Season 2 is going to work out. Are people going to drop it or hate it? Because, well, you know what happens in The Last of Us 2. We also had the Mario movie, which was alright, to be honest. It's a bit weird to see Mario have such a different character, but I don't really know how you could make a movie with Mario and not do that. It was fine for the most part though, you know? There was also Resident Evil Death Island. I was disappointed in that one. It wasn't bad, but I wanted it to be as ridiculous as the one that came out before it, which I forget the name of, as all the Resident Evil CGE movies have like names like Vendetta, Vengeance and stuff. But the one where Leon and Chris team up, that one, That's top Resident Evil. I don't care what anyone says. That is what we want from Resident Evil. There's also the Five Nights with Freddy movie. Not seen it, and I have no idea what it is, which that probably makes me sound like an old man. I am an old man. But I hear people liked it. Then we had an Onimusha anime at the end of the year, which I've not seen. I really like Onimusha, but I didn't hear about that anime until very recently, and something about it looks weird to me. It has that Netflix anime look, which I think is ugly, and I don't like CG anime either. I'll watch it at some point though, and judge it on its own merits. As for other anime, in 2023 I rewatched all of the Fate Stay Night stuff with my friends who hadn't seen them. When I say all, I mean Fate Zero, Unlimited Blade Works, and the Heaven's Feel movies. After that, we watched Fate Apocalypse? Apocrypha? Something like that? And then a like mini, not quite movie thing, which I feel is like setting up for another anime, Fate Strange Fake, I want to say that one was called. Man, it's really hard to remember the names of all these Fate spin-offs, but I enjoyed them at any rate. We're also watching, as I don't think it's finished yet, Frieren, which is a fun anime. I knew nothing about it going in, and it's been a long time since I picked up like a new anime, I feel like, but I saw a Sakuga clip of it, and I was like, hey, cool. So I decided to check it out, and it's a fun show, and we've been enjoying it so far. How about TV series, or streaming, whatever? I've been very slowly going through Deep Space Nine, which is suitably different from TNG. I don't like it as much as TNG so far, but I do appreciate that the cast is a little more diverse. And I don't mean that like, oh look, we have an Asian guy and an black guy or whatever. I mean that the entire cast aren't all Starfleet. We have Odo, Quark, and Kira, who are very different. You know, they're from different planets, different backgrounds, and it adds some character moments and diversity to the show. Overall, though, I think TNG is better so far, but I'm only on season 2 of DS9. I want to say Jack Ryan had like 2 seasons last year, but if I'm honest, that show fell off after the first season. I liked the first season quite a lot. The others, take it or leave it. Jack Reacher season 2 started near the end of the year. Whilst it's not finished at time of writing, I'm liking it so far. It's okay. I think season 1 had a better dynamic to it, with between, you know, Reacher, Roscoe, and Finley, I think they were called. Something about the squad people, I don't know, it's not working as well for me, like the dynamic between them. Perhaps because they're all too similar in that they're all military people. Was there a Mandalorian season last year? I feel like there was. I don't remember. Apologies if I spoke about it like last year, but third season or whatever of Mandalorian was pretty bad. Feels phoned in at this point, and man, that Ahsoka show was just garbage. What is it with Disney making shows like 3 times longer than they need to be? The Ahsoka show could have been like 2 hours long. It could have been like a movie. I started watching Loki season 2. After an episode or 2, I just started skipping through them because nothing happened. Not even like, oh, character moments with dialogue style, quotation, nothing. Literally nothing. The characters didn't develop. You could go from the beginning to the end of an episode. Most of it was just talking. Nothing happening. Wretched. One show that stands out for me is Joe Pickett, which perhaps in direct contrast to Loki, there's a lot of talking in Joe Pickett, but most of it serves as development. Gosh. But I enjoyed watching seasons 1 and 2 near the end of the year, like just very recently finished them. I enjoyed them a lot. It isn't, you know, like revolutionary, it's not like, oh, it's the best TV show ever, but I liked the show, and it's a shame they aren't going to make a season 3 for a show that has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for both seasons. Well, at least there's like 20 books I can read. Conversely, we had Wheel of Time season 2, and I don't need to say anything more about that because I have like a 2-hour video explaining why I despise that show. Can't remember if it was 2022 or 2023, but I also watched Yellowstone, all of it, 1883, 1923, and Lorman Bass Reeves, and Operation Lioness, I think. All of those, 1883 is the standout one. I think that's a pretty superb show that I think everyone can enjoy something about that. It's got some great performances, lovely scenery, and an interesting premise. The only movie I saw at the cinema in 2023 was Mission Impossible, which is alright. Not as good as the last one, not as good as Top Gun 2. I almost said Top Gear. Nah. Man, they should have made a Top Gear movie. That would have been great. A bit frustrating that it did the whole two-parter thing. I don't like that. Spider-Verse 2 did that as well, even more so, you could say. Didn't like that. That one felt like an incomplete experience. I watched Ant-Man. I don't remember it. I watched Shazam. I don't remember it. John Wick 4 was good, but way too long. The fight scene near the start in the hotel went on for like 30 minutes. It was like he got stuck in endless survival mode. It was really funny. Like, he would beat some enemies, then another wave would come in. Like, I was like, is that like a joke or something? The action was good, though. It's just way too long, that movie. Dungeons & Dragons movie was pretty fun. My wife really liked that one, despite not knowing anything about D&D. To be fair, I virtually know nothing about D&D as well, but meh. I don't remember anything about Guardians of the Galaxy 3. To me, it was like as forgettable as the other superhero stuff. Fast and the Furious 10 came out and was entertaining, but I don't remember much of that either. It also had the two-part thing of not having a satisfying ending. Indiana Jones was stupid. Oppenheimer I didn't watch, but it looks dumb. Meg 2 was hilariously stupid. Apparently I watched Expendables 4, but I genuinely don't remember anything other than Stallone died and then came back to life. The Killer, with Fassbender, was pretty amusing, but not as good as I hoped it would be. I also watched loads of generic action movies, like Liam Neeson, the old man who must punch the people. Couldn't really tell you much more than that, though. I like those movies. They are what they are. Also, I apologize if you can hear my cat crunching. He crunches his food really loudly. The last movie I think I watched in the year, though, was Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, which was really weird. It was like the entire movie was just Mass Effect 2's grab a bunch of badass dudes. It was hilarious how the middle of the movie is quite literally, look at me being a badass, okay, now next scene and I'll never do anything. It's setting up for a second movie, I guess. I kind of liked the idea of the setting and some of the visuals, but everything else, man, kinda... Zack Snyder always makes visually exciting movies, but the rest of it kind of falls flat. Like, the writing in Batman vs Superman was, like, blew my mind, it was so dumb. But hey, movies are primarily a visual medium, so whatever. And I think Zack Snyder's Justice League is, like, way better than the original one. I did actually, just before I started recording this, I did watch the movie Coriolanus with Ralph Fiennes, I don't know how you pronounce his name actually, Voldemort and Gerard Butler. That's pretty cool. It's obviously based on Shakespeare's play. I think that's worth checking out. But that was in 2024. Ooh, I should be talking about that a year from now. Anyway, but there's not been a movie that really stuck with me for a while. It's hard to find those, though, because most of those movies don't get advertised or spoken about as much. They're not super big mainstream things. Last movie I can think of like that was The Green Knight. I loved that movie, but man, is it divisive. 50% audience score. Reading the comments, people kind of despised it, but I loved it. I maintain it is the nearest thing we'll ever get to a Dark Souls movie. I've heard that they're trying to make like a Dark Souls anime or something on Netflix, and I think there's a huge chance that's going to be absolutely miserable. I don't want to be like pessimistic, but I just feel like they're not... It's like the Dark Souls official comic. It's so bad. Like, how can you be making something that is an adaptation of something else and not understand what makes it interesting? Sure, they might have, Solaire and Oscar of Astora and all these characters in the Netflix anime, but it's more than just taking things and putting them in another thing. It's the themes, the atmosphere. That's what makes Dark Souls what it is. But we'll deal with that when and if it comes out. As for 2024, there's quite a few exciting games on the horizon. Rise of the Ronin looks cool, but I need to wait for a PC version. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, or whatever it's called, is coming out very, very soon, and I've been interested in that game since it was announced. Before you were born, probably. I don't know anything about Grand Blue, I just think the game looks fun. I'm not a huge fan of the aesthetic either, like the super anime look with all the characters, but I'm always down for co-op, kind of Monster Hunter-y style things. A week or so after that is Helldivers 2, which looks awesome, but I'm probably gonna have to pick that up later in the year, as it's sandwiched between too many other things. Summer has Dawn Trail. I don't care about Destiny anymore, I think that's getting a new expansion, but the last expansion has killed my desire to ever play that game. along with Lance Reddick passing. Biggest game of 2024 though, for me, it's the Year of the Dragon. You know what came out in the last Year of the Dragon? One of my favourite games. Dragon's Dogma. This Year of the Dragon, we got Dragon's Dogma 2. Can't wait for it. Really hope it doesn't let me down, because I've been waiting for this for more than 10 years, and I love me some Dragon's Dogma. I've been a diehard fan of the game since the demo of the first title, and I really can't wait. If you've not played the first game, do yourself a favour, try it. You can pick it up for like $5 on Steam all the time. You might not like it, that's fine if you don't like it, but you need to try it, because you might absolutely love it, as I do. On that note, I have loads of Dragon's Dogma guides on the channel that cover, important parts that are perhaps not explained too well by the game, like pawn inclinations, some missable quests and whatnot. Either way though, that's about it for now. Thanks so much for watching, let me know what you're anticipating, and have a great year.